All video clips contained on Football Talk with Coach Chip are meant for analysis, criticism, comment, teaching, and research by football coaches. We believe this falls under the fair use doctrine of the Copyright Act, Section 107. Hey coaches, welcome back to Football Talk with Coach Chip. Today we're going to be looking at the superpower. This is kind of like a troubleshooting episode and just a suggestion episode at the same time, because I had a coach and it inspired a segment on the last podcast. Go check it out, episode 19. You can find it on Apple, Spotify, and pretty much any other podcast platform. And I said, this would make a really good video too. And, you know, at this point in the season, nobody's looking for anything new. But if you're a gap down backer team or any kind of gap scheme, if you're a God blocking, good blocking, or just GDB blocking, you can easily add this to your arsenal for your stretch run to the playoffs, or maybe put it in now. This is, as I record this, it's Sunday. You can run this week if you're already a gap down backer team. That's what I'm trying to share with you, is things that can help you right now. I'm not trying to throw new things at you, but I'm going to show you how easy it would be for you to install the superpower or the super counter. They're blocked basically the same way. It's just the action in the backfield is what makes the difference. We're going to talk about it from the double wing and beyond. All right, let's talk about the double wing, and I've got video coming up too at the end of the video, so I'll try to go through these cards pretty quick. This is, to me, the OG of the superpower. The first time I ever saw it run, when I say OG, I mean the original gangsta. I don't mean the off guard. First time I saw it was on film. I still remember the team we were preparing for, and we weren't real good that year, and they broke it off in us on that Friday. We were young, we got better, and we eventually got where we beat them, and we learned to defend this cockeyed thing, and that's a whole nother video. First time I saw it, one of the coaches called it the tsunami because the team was all blue, and he said, my God, it looks like a tsunami coming through there. And you can see what they did. They were gap down backer all the way. Now, I have noticed, studying some double wing teams, some of them block down with the wing, almost like a wing tee down to the linebacker. They don't block the non-tech with him, but they'll come right here and go around and get that first linebacker inside. But the way I was taught it, and the first teams I saw run it, they turned out on that, whoever the widest guy was with the wing. And then the fullback, who is really, really tight to the line, and that's probably the original sniffer. I mean, he was close to the quarterback. And I've been told the reason why is they're trying to hide him, because he'll take you to the football in the double wing on about 90% of the plays. Even the counter, he jab steps and then goes back and on the counter on some double wing teams. So they have him in there right behind the quarterback, and they're hiding him. And just like old school power, he goes and kicks out the end man on the line of scrimmage, which in this case will be this backer walked up in a 9. And then everybody else is gap down backer, gap down backer, gap down backer, back. A lot of them use severe angle. I mean, they're really, and their splits are almost non-existent. They're like fist splits. They're just enough you can put your fist in. When we toyed with this and ran it to survive back in 2010 for about 5 games, and it kept us in ball games and it kept us close, and it did what we wanted to do. It taught a bunch of young kids how to play football, be physical, and how to block. And we just carried over the blocking rules when we started spreading things out a little bit. We're still using basically the same blocking rules in the late 2010s. We won all those region championships and state titles. The gap down backer stuff that we used in 2010, running double wing stuff. I mean, football is football. Formations are formations, but football is football. And they get really tight, and we widen them a little bit, what I was going to say earlier, to keep them from stepping on each other. We didn't get big splits, but, maybe 2 or 3 fists. You put your fists together, it can fit down between their feet. widen them out a bit so they can take those down steps. Well, then on the backside guard pulls and wraps, hugging the rump line, just like on regular power. What changes it, what makes it superpower, is the backside tackle is also wrapping. And because of the tight splits, he has no problem getting there to the point of attack. Now, the way we did it, he would be a tad bit deeper than the guard, so they can't get a BOGO, buy one, get one free, by taking out that lead guard. He get a little bit deeper, and he doesn't hug the rump line. He's looking for a fall in from the outside. Could be an outside backer versus a 4-4 kind of front, or a 3-3. And that's what we did it when we ran it. I'd have noticed on film study that some of them used the first guard, the first puller, the guard, to kick out in the hole and get whatever falls in, and then the tackle wraps tight and looks inside. And then the quarterback gets involved, and sometimes you'll see this. Sometimes they'll take him and boot him out, and sometimes they'll take him and just reverse out right here and get in this guy's way so he can't run it down. But the first team this is back in the 90s, that we coached against that did it, they had a 210-pound quarterback, and he would pitch that joker to the motioning wingback, and then he led up through there too. So you think about that now. They had 1, 2, 3, 4 guys at the point of attack with the ball following it. This is the OG in my life of the superpower. First time I ever saw it run, and it was just amazing. Well, a few years later, about 2003, 2004, we're in the playoffs, and we're playing a team that was I formation. So when you're looking at the film, you're looking at, okay, they run that power toss. They run a downhill toss that just back in the early 80s, Auburn made a living on this out of wishbone, running this downhill toss. But they didn't block it this way, kids. This team got in the eye, and they ran the superpower. They used their quarterback same way Nebraska used to use theirs. He'd reverse out and pitch it to the tailback and then spin around. And you ain't got a devastating block and get your quarterback hurt. Just get in that squeezing man's way and make him run around you. And if he lowers his shoulder to run over you, just get out of his way and he'll fall. But that's what they did. And we had ran I wish I could remember it. It's been 20 years. We ran some kind of gimmick defense and held them to 2 touchdowns. They beat us in overtime. I think they kicked a field goal and beat us 17-14, something like that. But this was a tough play. We had to run a gimmick defense against it to stop it. And they could run, of course, they could come back and fake the toss and run counter back with it. They could run lead, but this was their bread and butter. That kid ran the ball, and he was just a big old 10th grade tailback, and they ran that thing right down our throats. Fortunately, they turned it over on downs more often than not and only scored 2 touchdowns that night, and one of them was on a pass. But they had really made people like it that year. And because when I figured out what they were doing, I said, oh, crap, that's double wing superpower out of I. And they blocked it just like power, except they added the tailback as the extra wrapper. Okay. All right. Now let's look at some gun teams. I found some video on Bixby out in Oklahoma, and they do some really neat things with the gap scheme. And they also run some zone too, but they do a lot of cool things with gap scheme. And I just wanted to share this with you. Look, right here, they got in this formation, then shifted into this formation. And I color coded it so you can see the orange guy went to the inside sniffer. The blue guy went to the wide sniffer, the wing back right here. This guy, the purple guy, went to the wide receiver here. And then this guy bumped out to become the tight end. And somebody else came over here. A lineman came over here. Anyway, they ended up in this formation right here. And that's pretty crazy. Oh, this green guy came over here. He started out here and he came over here. And so they get you in a bind because they do it right before the snap. And as soon as they're set, guy goes in motion. The jetter, they fake the jet. Now this was GH counter with the extra H tagged. You see that right there. I need to move along. All right, now here's another one out of gun. Now, this is the one we did in 17 in the playoffs, and we tagged it where the running back, the jetter, went behind the quarterback, and the quarterback did a spin like a single wing spinner to give the blocking time to develop, and also so these two wouldn't run into each other, the running back and the jetter. And so that's why we had him go behind. And we ran the jet that way every now and then too, so it wasn't like anything new or radical. I don't even know the defense even noticed we did it, but it was just to get us for spacing purposes. And what we did, we blocked it like GH counter, but we had the running back coming in as the third. The superpower / super counter, now listen to this, is any combination of a kicker and two wrappers. So that's why I said, if you're a gap scheme team, you can put the superpower in or super counter in this week because you're already doing these things. And I'll show you toward the end of the video, toward the end of this segment of the video, how you can do it. But we ran it this way, and I'll have that video for y'all too. All right, now here's one. This is another super counter from Gun. This was a GT with the H kicking. And there's a video of that happening too. And they bubbled right here to hold this guy. And they fake jet. And then the quarterback ran the counter right back through here. And you can see it's any combination of a kicker and two wrappers. The two wrappers can be backs, as y'all saw. Okay, the way we did it, the way Bixby did it with two backs. It can be two linemen with a kicker. There's all kind of cool ways to do it. But what you're doing, you're maximizing bodies at the point of attack and overwhelming the defense because they have to be sound. And when you add jet motion, or in this case, a sweep action to keep them honest right here, it's going to hold them up just that tick where then you can get your guys at the point of attack and hit that thing wide open. It's good stuff. All right, now these are many ways. This may not be all the ways, and I'm pretty sure it isn't. But here are many ways to block the super. And notice I didn't say superpower. I just said the super because you can make it a counter as well as a power. And I think there's more ways to counter it probably than there is to use actual power. You got the original from the double wing teams right here where they married power and GT. Because you got the kicker, fullback kicking, which that's power. And then you got two wrappers, which is GT, except the guard isn't kicking. Okay, he's wrapping. So what will you do here? You would just tell everybody block power, and then tell the the tackle, the backside tackle, you wrap too. And you just make a call. It's whatever, you make the call, but all you're doing, you're calling whatever you call power right. Say power right, tackle wrap in your terminology. So you're not doing anything new. You're just tweaking it, okay? Putting a little twist on it. Then you got the GH with the backside tackle tagged. It's just GH, backside tackle tagged. Here's GH with the extra H. Everybody blocks GH, counter, and you tag the extra H. You just slip him into the game. You want to put him, do a shift like Bixby does. Here's GT with the H tagged. This GT counter, got the guard kicking, got the tackle wrapping, and you got the extra guy, the H. You've tagged him. Now he's wrapping as well. And this is great for taking care of the overhang. If you're not a team willing to throw that backside access, for whatever reason, you're under center, you don't trust your quarterback to do it, or whatever, this is a way to account for this guy. If they're falling in on you, then you can call your GT counter and then tag the H to wrap as well. Here's power with backside tackle tags. Look at power. They're kick, wrap, just like he does on power. And now you've tagged the backside tackle, and he wraps as well, and he's getting that overhang that keeps falling in, messing up your plays. And then the last one is I'm not saying this is all encompassing. I wish y'all would show me some ways that you can do it. Now, this is one, I haven't seen many teams do it this way. We used to block our counter crisscross when we were under center this way. I think we did it when we were in gun too. When we had a tight end, we used the tight end as the wrapper on our counter crisscross. So here it is, GH with the tight end tagged. So you can do a lot of stuff with your tight end. If you have a tight end in the game, he can also wrap. I remember there was a team in Southwest Alabama ran GT out of I and one back for years, and they would get in one back and run counter, and they would wrap different guys every time. Sometimes it was tight end in the H, or the fullback as they called him. Sometimes it was the guard and the tight end. Sometimes it was the tackle and the tight end. Sometimes it was GT. But there's all kind of ways you can do it. You just come up with a tag or a way to, or you want to make it another place. Okay, we're going to call this superpower, or we're going to call it super. When we call super right, this is what you do. But the kids have already learned these techniques. These are things that you've been doing with your team all year. You already taught them gap down backer. You already taught them how to wrap. You already taught them how to kick. So now you're just adding another guy to it, and it's not changing the integrity of the play. I just love it. All right, let's look at some video. All right, I want to show you one of ours to begin with. This is the one I told you we did the spinner jet. You'll watch this. It's not, guys, you can put this in. I sound like one of those reels, those cooking reels. Oh, guys, this is so good. You'll love it. Try this. Okay, seriously, this is good football. All right, so you're faking the jet, or the whatever you want to call it, the faking the sweep because he's going behind him. And we got GH. And when we put it in that week, this third round of the playoffs, it's great. Late in the year, playoff time is a great time to tweak your stuff, not change it. Maybe put a little extra, what Emerald called BAM, dropping that extra little sauce or the extra little bit of spice in there. So I taught the kids. I said, listen, it's GH counter. I said, I want you to jab, and you'll come right here behind the H. So the guards are going to pull and kick, and you'll see there's nothing to kick. They were in man, and we were end over. And so when he went in motion with the jet guy, it left nobody back here on the edge, and so all three of them turned up right here off tackle. It was pretty, and we didn't expect this, and we got 4 eyes, and it was just crazy. I don't know what happened, but he's going to pull kick. He's going to turn out. He's going to wrap just like he always did on GH. And then he's going to come and wrap as well. Watch this in slow-mo. This is good stuff, man. Boom. And I'll tell you this. Don't put it in if you can't get it done in 5 minutes. First day, if they don't get it in 5 minutes, move on. Because it is difficult. That's not difficult. It's easy, but easy to me is not easy to the kids. Easy to you is not easy to the kids. See, there's jab step by the tailback, giving the G and H time to go. The spin gives them time to develop in front of the quarterback. And even if they'd have had a forced player to kick, it still would have been the same because the guard would have got him. All right, let's look at some other teams doing it as well. All right, now here's the OG of the superpower. Double wing. I said OG because that's the first time I ever saw it run. At the time, I've been coaching almost 20 years. I'm going to show you a few of these double wings. I'm not going to show you a ton of them. You get the idea. You see, look, you got 2 wrappers, fullback kicking. Watch the fullback. It's going to kick. See, now they use their wing back to block the corner. The play side wing back, he's going to get him. But there's some teams, they'll block him down like to the first linebacker inside. It's just a mass of humanity, man. I'm telling you, it is a tsunami. And the cutback, there you go. The cutback on it that's where they get you. See the over pursuit? Oop. And I was just watching some film this morning from down in the South Florida, a team running double wing, and their running back missed that cutback the whole game. Here we go again. I think this cracks off pretty good. I want you to see that. Boom, and out he pops. Man, it's like a watermelon seed coming out of there. All right, let's look at it. Here we go. Okay, all right, coaches. I just had this conversation with a coach this morning. He said, Coach, it was a single wing team. And he'd already told me, he said, they don't really run trap. They run power and counter off these single wing looks. And he said, what do you think about us running the bear front? And I said, what did you just tell me? So why am I going to pack inside to take away the A gaps when they don't run A gaps? The only A gap play that you can put any play in. The main A gap play of most double wing teams is the wedge, and some of them may run trap. It's tough to run trap when him up that close. You see why? Because he's the original sniffer too, and I've seen him closer than that. But they're going to run wedge, and that's pretty much it. And they're going to try to. So why get at? I never understood why teams would say, "I know how to stop you, coach. I'm going to get in the bear front." I said, dude, I want to run power. I didn't say this. In my head, I'm thinking, oh, yeah, that's going to be tough because I'm going to run power and counter. You haven't taken away my angles. Now, you want to cheat him out a little bit, put him in a 4-eye. That makes it tougher on the tackle. But unless your tackles are horrible, a 3-tech is not hard to block down on. We ain't got to get push. We just got to get a stalemate, and we can hit it off tackle. I don't understand the love affair that some people have with the bear front, or as we used to call it back in the 70s, the double eagle, before the Chicago Bears had arguably the best defense in the history of football in, 85, 86, whatever it was. I just don't get it. I mean, that's me getting on my soapbox. I do not get how people are so enamored with the bear front against teams that want to run off tackle. Okay. Here's the shift that I told you about. This is Bixby out in Oklahoma, and they really do a good job offensively. Look, it's empty. You got twins over here, trips over here. And this is getting more this, but they're going to run old school superpower / super counter. There's the shift. And that's what, and the reason I showed you those double wing plays, I want you to get a baseline for where it came from. Like boom, fake the jet. You got a guard kicking and 2 H's wrapping. Let's watch it in slow-mo. Here we go. See right there? It's gap down backer, baby. Down, down, down. Back with the center. Backside guard is pulling. And there was nobody, just like on the one I showed, there was nobody there to kick. So all 3 of them wind up turning up. I mean, that's made in heaven right there, cuz. Heaven. Let's look at another Bixby. They're gonna shift. So even the line shifted that time. Go. So they're gonna pull this. They pull the was that the tight end and the tackle? That's one I didn't diagram. Oh, it was a nub side. Okay. So it was like a GT and GH married. I mean, you've already got this stuff in, coaches, if you're a gap scheme team. And I think most of my subscribers are gap scheme guys because I talk so much about it. Why else would you be here unless you're a defensive coach? We don't mind you coming too. Just make sure you're subscribed. That's good stuff, man. And all you're doing is just tweaking what you've already done. You had a good kick that time and 2 wrappers. It doesn't have to be the quarterback. You can, here it is blown up. You can fake the jet and give it to the running back and have your 2 H's and a guard or 2 linemen and an H, whatever it is you want to do. .30 probably should have turned up. You had 2 guys kicking that time. And the guards, the guard kicks. He should have been turning up. This is super buck. I kid you not. Watch. Look, 2 guards. So it's not really buck because the tackle didn't block down. He pin and pull, whatever. It's still, you're pulling two guards. And then they added the H, so it's super buck. See, this is Bixby's OC being creative, but not reinventing his offense. He's running what he already runs. And then they just tweak it by tagging an extra blocker. That is what's so radical about it. They're not doing anything new. They're just combining some things. Like this case, marrying the GH and the buck. I think that is brilliant. Okay, here you see the super buck. I'm just coined that term. I don't know what they call it. I'm going to try to get that guy on my podcast during the off season. I know somebody in Oklahoma that can help me. Contact him. But see, super buck, they did double bubbles to keep these guys outside. And they go out there and kick it. And really, truly, they didn't have to kick him, but they was there to do it. And then you got the guard wrapping like he does on buck. And then you got the extra H coming when that safety comes up. And it's just good football. And again, nothing new. Didn't reinstall anything. All right. Appreciate you. Remember, our jet manual is still there. The offensive line manual for gap scheme blocking is still there. Sold 2 of them this week, which is not much compared to what we were doing in the summer. But it's during the middle of the season, and people are still buying this stuff. So order yours today, siegel.chip@gmail.com. Not really new, but something I've got several hits on here lately asking for it. It's a freebie. It's the scouting and prepping for your next opponent it's an organized, systematic plan to break down film. And it gives every coach, and if you don't have enough coaches to do everything in it, you double up on it. But every coach on your staff, unless you got a staff of 15, will have something to do, and it keeps the coordinators and the head coach from having to do it all. And it's a way of breaking down the film. What are you looking for? These are 2 slides blown up, what the OC looks for, what the DC looks for, and then I've got it. What's the running back coach look for? What does the wide receiver coach look for? What does the secondary coach look for? All these different things. And what it was just years and years of doing it. And toward the end of my career, we figured a few things out and we got better at it. But if you want to dive deeper into any of these things that we've talked about on here or all that, I'll help you troubleshoot. I'll help you tweak something and not say install something for the playoff run or whatever, but whatever it is, you can hit me up at siegel.chip@gmail.com. We can set up a Zoom. If you're not too far away, we can do an in-person consultation or whatever. All right, this is our fall freebie. This is a practice schedule. If you don't like the way your practice plan is going, it is a Microsoft Excel file. And you'll get it, and I've got it filled in already, but you got to take it and put your stuff in and just use this as a template. But you'll have this as a model as well, 100% free. All you got to do is subscribe. Then there's the call sheet. It's 2 pages, front and back. It's got how you put together your call sheet with all your different plays. Got places on the back for your bundles, for your scripting. Also on it is your 2-point conversion chart and your 4-minute offense chart. When is it time? When can we safely take a knee and take this game to the house? Opportunity to support old Coach Chip. Buymeacoffee.com/Coach Chip. And just go there. And I've had a bunch of y'all do that, and I sure do appreciate it. It's just kind of like giving me a tip, really what it is. All right, here's the free resource list. I've just added to it. It's not on this card. But our jet blocking rules. I had a guy that hit me up and said, Coach, he said, I'm having an issue with jet. Can you send me your blocking rules? And I said, yeah. And I said, oh, crap, it's not on the list. And so I've added it into my folder on my computer, but I haven't reshot the screenshots yet to put up here. So I put it over here. It's like 2-3 pages, and it just a way to, maybe it ain't that much. How to block jet different ways. And rules that you can give your kids. So it's not bad stuff, okay? Hit me up at siegel.chip@gmail.com. But first, make sure you subscribe to the channel. That's what we need for you to do. It helps with everything. It's not hurting you. It's 100%, no strings attached. Heck, Coach Saban's a subscriber. He already knows Football Talk with Coach Chip is the way to go. So what we got to do is convince about 150, less than 150 by now, 140 something others by Halloween, October 31st, to subscribe to Football Talk with Coach Chip. Trying to get to 3,500 by the time the kids go trick-or-treating. All right. Appreciate you. Thanks for being here. Sorry it ran long, but hey, you got a pause button. That's on you, Hoss. Y'all, be elite.